I hope you are having a good day today. Now, if you're able to hear me or if you're able to see me, just give me a thumbs up. So at least I know technically everything is okay. Good? Yes? No? Good? Okay, good. So today is another round of our webinar series. And today's webinar is going to be on the Labour Ordinance of Sabah and Sarawak. So from now till about 5, slightly above, slightly after 5, we will go through the ordinance. It's going to be quite a compact webinar because there's a lot to cover. I think I've got almost 60 plus slides to cover. Now, for those of you all listening in today, these slides that is being shared will be shared in our Facebook group later. So you can go and download it from our Facebook community. So yeah, so that's what is going to happen today. So for those of you all, if you have any question and answer, you can ask in the comment box. Later part, once I'm done with the presentation, we'll go through the Q&A. But my advice is this: please listen first. I know you may have some questions to ask, etc. Please listen first, because some of the questions that you may have in your mind right now, the answers are presented, meaning that we're going to discuss it. And you need to sometimes, being a HR practitioner, we must be able to, connect the dots. We must be able to infer, for example, okay, I'm presenting this, give you some idea. You must be able to somehow or other find a way through. But if we want to just ask and get quick answer, then we are not learning, right? As HR practitioner, we got to learn. So we cannot expect answer to be given, exactly the way you want it, right? Exactly to the dot. Okay, this is it. Do this, do this, do this. Now, if we want that kind of answers, I think we are going to have tough time in order to grow our career. So I'm sure all of us, you, me, everyone else, we all want to be better, right? We want to be better today than what we were yesterday. And we want to be better tomorrow compared to today. But to be better in our job, we have to be able to, push ourselves, apply pressure to learn. We cannot expect answers to be given, on a silver plate. Okay, this is it. What's your issue? Oh, okay, this is the answer. Now, if we were to have that kind of mindset, we are not going to grow fast. We might grow, but very slowly. So if we want to grow fast, we want to learn the job, we want to be on top of things, we want to be operating at the next level, then we have to push our, ability to learn, to understand, to digest, to internalize it, right? So if you have any question, you can ask, but please first listen to what I'm going to say, connect the dots, right? Read between the lines, and see whether you can find your answer. If you cannot, then you ask, right? So hold on to your questions first. But as you go, if whatever I present or whatever ideas I give is not able to answer your needs, then you ask. So let's do that. Quick intro about myself. My name is Arul. I'm sure some of you all do know me. You might be in our Facebook group or might be in our WhatsApp group. I may have seen some of you all. So I was also ex-HR, guy just like you. But of course, after some time, you get a little bit tired. You want to do something better, something more challenging. Work at that time was quite, I don't know, boring is the right word, but it's become mundane. Same stuff day in, day out. I don't see any new stuff, and so on. I like challenges. I like to go into issues. I like to solve problem. That's me. So I decided to move out and do consulting, do training, do advisory, and that's what we do today. So I'm sure many of you are also in HR. I believe most of you all. There will come a time when you feel what's next in your life, right? Being a trainer, being a consultant could be one, but in order to be a good trainer, plenty of trainers out there, right? There are so many trainers out there, but are they really good? Like for me, I want to ensure that I'm one of the best trainer you can find. So in order to be a good trainer, in order to be a great trainer, it's not just about coming to class and just sharing some slides. It's not just about doing some TikTok videos, fun, etc. Laugh here, laugh there. No, it's about delivering quality, delivering knowledge, going in depth, being technical, right, in your training or your presentation. That's why you see most of my classes or seminars or training, etc. Or even if you follow me in Facebook, I'm quite serious at times. I'm quite my class can be quite dry, but because why? At your level, at your age, you don't go to a training and expect trainer to play games, right? We're all adults. We don't go to class and say that, oh, why the class is so boring, it's non-stop bombardment, etc. Now, we are no longer in high school or in kindergarten where we need the teacher to show us, okay, 1 + 1 apple is 2 apple. That is done. You don't go and spend money in classes for the trainer to entertain you, right? So to me, no gamification in my classes or my webinars, because it's lots of things to learn. And this is a serious topic. This topic is about saving company tens of thousands of ringgit or even more, right? If a case is not done well, if it goes to the industrial court, we end up paying a lot of money. So this is no laughing matter. It is not fun here and there, etc. It's serious. So I hope you also have the same mindset. HR is not about fun, etc. We can have fun, but the job requires seriousness. It requires us to be very focused. It requires us to be very intelligent. We must be tactical. We must have the right strategy. We must be able to know how to manage situation, how to manage difficult employees. So it's not really a fun and laughter matter. So that's a little bit about me. And I would like to encourage all of you all to join our Facebook. I'm sure if you're listening to me right now, you are in Facebook. But please get all your HR team members, right, your peers. Please get them to join our Facebook community. There's tons of information. In Malaysia, I would say probably HR Forum is the only platform in Malaysia that has got tons of knowledge. I don't think you'll find any other platform, right? Any other platform with knowledge, documentation, policies, templates, and whatnot. Just last night, we introduced or we published the part-time work policy. Now, you'll find it in Forum, you'll not find it elsewhere. So please, join the Forum. If you have already joined the Forum, please follow the discussions, look into the documents that we share, download it, look at what you have in your organization, see whether it needs to be improvised, and so on. Get all your team members to join. So if you're a HOD or you're a section head, get your team members to join. Get them to follow, get them to read, right? Get your MD to join us, because sometimes the MD, they need some third party to knock into their head, right? We could do it. Let them join. Let them know that, the market or this issue, that issue, etc. So that's what you can get in our Facebook community. And so before I jump into the topic today, I know today, so much of issues on Perkeso, right? The issue about Perkeso. So I've shared these slides in Facebook. Later, I'll share this again. I'll share these slides again. But some of you all may have seen it. Now, my question to all of you all, being HR, right? You're a HR practitioner. Now, why are we dancing around? Last whole week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we were dancing around. This, that, etc. Some even went to communicate, and then the details have changed. The form has changed, and then we dance again one more round, and then until today it's not done yet. A smart HR would have sit down, think, and say, you know what? Since Perkeso has given a deadline until 31st August, why do we want to rush? Right? Why do you want to rush? If you have rushed, I don't think you are there yet. If you rushed last week, but if you told yourself, you know what? Let me study the whole entire process and framework. Let me study it first. What is going to happen? A smart HR is able to anticipate, right? A smart HR is able to know what's coming next. But if we are very, we only look at today, and we look at, we're not looking at tomorrow, we're not analyzing it, then we are going to work, without, or shall I say, cluelessly. We're going to waste time. A smart HR last week would have said, you know what? Since Perkeso has given the deadline until 31st August, why not I wait first? Let's see how things unfold. Let the dust settle down. Let things settle down first. Then I will decide my line of action. And of course, this came in only a later part of last week. Perkeso also says that those who paid, right? Let's say you have paid July, and then you decided to withdraw. Except for June. June will not be refunded, your contribution in June, but July will be refunded. So if July is going to be refunded, what's the big deal? Right? So a smart HR would have paused, give it a thought, see, is there another way for me to do it? That's what a smart HR would have done. So if you jumped last week, you have got a long way to go. But if you are one of those who who pause, had a look at it, you are the smart one. And we shared this today just to give you an overview of, if you decide to stay or you decide to opt out, right? Stay means, okay, I'm going to stay put. I want to contribute. I want to be protected under Lindung 24. Or you may think that, okay, I want to opt out. I'm not interested in it. I may have my insurance, etc. That's your choice. So this table is to give you some idea, because why? Until last weekend, when I see the comments, when I see the questions being asked around, I still feel many HR practitioners has no clue, or shall I say, they are still clueless. They still do not know what they're confused. What is it, right? So this table is to give you some clarity of what is the current status. So I will read through very briefly. Those who decide to stay, right, you don't have to do anything. Contribution will be done. Deduction in July will be done. Deduction August will be done, and the many months. But if you decide to stay, and you don't opt out, that means you said, you know what, I want to stay. After 31st August, you cannot leave. You cannot opt out. Because once you are in, you don't exit, you will be opted in. That means you will be paying forever. So once you're in, you're in. So if you don't withdraw yourself by 31st August, consider you are part of Lindung 24 coverage. But those who decided to, I don't want this scheme, so they decide to, opt out. So you can opt out, fill up the form or do it online. Once you opt out by 31st August, right, if you opt out, whether it's in July or August, if you have paid the previous month's contribution, except for June, because June will not be refunded. So if you have already paid, your company has already deducted your July contribution, August contribution, for example. Now, this will be refunded back to you. June, no refund, but July and August will be refunded, provided you have not made any claims yet. If you have made a claim, then you won't get it. If you never made a claim, you will get that back. This is what we have learned from the latest update. How the refund mechanism will work, I'm not sure. I've not heard any updates from Perkeso. So let's give them some time to see how they want to do this refund mechanism. So a smart HR, we also shared a sample memo last week in Facebook. A smart HR would have taken this sample memo, read it. I think this makes sense, right? And share this with the employees, so things will quiet down. If employee come and pressure you, no, I want to withdraw today, you just tell them, sorry, Perkeso has given deadline until 31st August. If you want, you go to Perkeso and do it yourself. Otherwise, for company, we will go ahead to deduct. Later part, when you opt out, we will refund you, right? So that's what a smart HR would have done. But if you dance around and you say that, oh, my employees are pressurizing me, etc., that means, this is my view, people do not trust HR, or HR is not firm, right? So for me, personally speaking, I will never allow anyone to move or to push HR around. I will never allow that, right? Because we got so much of other important things to look at. We need to look at other matters and whatnot. So do not allow people to push you around for basic petty matters, right? So this is, the flow. So those who opted out in August, by end of August, you decide, okay, I don't want, you can always opt in back. That means you can always apply back to be covered under Lindung 24 at any time, whether it's in August, September, October, next year. So you can, right? I'm quite sure Perkeso, after over a period of time, they may come up with much more clarity, much more, better guidelines or the more detailed guidelines. Let's just wait for it. There's no need to dance around. So that's on Lindung 24. Now, let me move on to the presentation for today. As always, I do not skip this slide. What this slide tells us, compliance, that means when we follow the rule, compliance is cheaper. When we decide not to follow the rules, compliance becomes more expensive. Why? Not just penalty, but there could also be loss of business opportunity. Our brand, we spend so much time to build our brand, to tell the world that so and so company is one of the best company, the top company, etc. But when we are hit with compliance issue, all those brand building effort probably is wasted, right? So number one, please comply, and compliance is always cheaper than non-compliance, right? So do that. Those of you who attended my previous webinars, I've given you, one or two examples of, how this works. So because of time factor today, I will stop there. So please follow the law. Do not try to evade or skirt around the law. Now, if you feel you want to find ways how to reduce costs legally. Don't reduce costs, for example, stamping. LHDN says that contract must be stamped. If there's any future changes, it changes the terms of employment, it has got to be stamped, right? 10 ringgit. Now, to avoid 10 ringgit, we create unnecessary process to avoid 10 ringgit. But what many of you all may not be aware, the amount of money that we waste on having long notice period, having long probation, not managing people out fast, not managing PIPs, people with medical issues, people abusing MCs, all these activities cost much, much more than paying the 10 ringgit. When we focus on 10 ringgit, we are being, very petty. Because how much can you save? 1,000 ringgit, 2,000 ringgit? But all these things that I mentioned just now, for a sizable company, it can be hundreds of thousands of ringgit. So do you want to save hundreds of thousands of ringgit, or do you want to save 2,000-3,000 ringgit? The choice is yours. A smart HR will focus on the big ticket items, big savings. HR that is very shallow-minded will look at petty savings, switching off light when we go for lunch. How much do we save? 200-300 ringgit a month. How do we avoid stamping? How much do you save? 10 ringgit per contract or per document. But here, having long notice period is a waste of money. Having long probation period is a waste of money. We are wasting money on medical bills. We are wasting money on not managing MCs. We are wasting money on not managing employees who are having performance issue, but we don't touch them. Now, every month we pay salary, 3,000, 5,000, 8,000. How much of money is that? So to me, focus there and not on those petty items. So what made, why did we change the law? Why did we upgrade the law? One, of course, yes, we want to ensure that employees gets better benefits, better, coverage and all those things. That's why you see enhancement to paternity, maternity, etc. But another big reason why is because Malaysia signed the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement, CPTPP, and one of the obligation in order for us to participate, to sign this agreement, is that they want Malaysia to comply with certain international labor standards. For example, maternity, for example, work hours, right? So they want us to comply. So hence, Malaysia had to make changes to these employment regulations or employment laws. And now that we have done it, we have signed agreement. We are now part of a much bigger economic bloc. We are now part of a USD 28 trillion dollar economy. So with that, Malaysia can do more business with this country, lesser trade barriers, more opportunities. The country gains, the company gains, and the employee also should gain. So that's the background to this. And of course, the other reason is, due to forced labor, quite a number of forced labor issues in the past, and the government decided that, we need to now look into this forced labor. Let's put it into employment laws so we can start to work things out so that we can avoid Malaysia being dragged into a country that is labeled as practicing forced labor, right? That's also one of the reasons. And some of you all may know this, but let me just run through again. So Peninsular Malaysia started, enforcement was 23rd January 2023. 1st January 2023. 2 years or 2.5 years later, Sabah and Sarawak. So these are the changes. When was it approved by Parliament and when was it gazetted and so on. So for those of you all, you should know this. Employment Act is for Peninsular Malaysia and Labuan. Labuan that is in Sabah. Labuan is under Wilayah Persekutuan. So Peninsular Malaysia and Wilayah Persekutuan, we follow Employment Act. For Sarawak, you follow the Labour Ordinance of Sarawak. For Sabah, you follow Labour Ordinance of Sarawak. Of Sabah. And with this amendment that has happened, I would say the difference between Employment Act and SLO Sabah, SLO Sarawak, I can safely tell you from what I've seen, read, analyzed, etc., the difference has become much more smaller. Now we are quite aligned on, paternity, maternity, employment benefits, public holidays, not the number of public holiday, but certain treatment of public holiday. So we are quite aligned on those things. So this amendment has brought us closer, but there are still some differences between Peninsular Malaysia, Sabah and Sarawak. I'll cover some of it later. So these are some differences. For example, the hostels or accommodation for Sabah and Sarawak, it's part of your labor ordinance, quite stringent, which we will not cover today because that is super, super lengthy. For Peninsular Malaysia, we have another act called Act 446, which is a bit more straightforward, simple, direct, not much of regulations compared to Sarawak and Sabah. And so that's on the general overview. So what you can also see in this amendment, similar to Peninsula, the labels have changed a little bit. Worker is now called employee. Servant is also called employee, right? These are, so you'll see in the past, you can see the word worker, domestic servant. Now it is called employee. So when we say employee, employee refers to local employee, foreign employee, whether you're contract, whether you're permanent, all of us, we are considered, or we are called as employee. And apprentice. So apprentice, in the past, in order for us to consider an apprentice contract, the apprentice has got to be, the contract has got to be not less than 2 years. Now it is 6 months minimum, 2 years maximum. Who are these apprentices? Apprentices are not interns. Those guys that you hire from university to do their internship for 3 months or 6 months as part of their diploma or degree requirement, that is internship. Internship are not, they are not apprentices. Apprentices are those who come, learn, and earn, right? They may have come to study, and while they're studying, they also earn. So in order to be considered apprentice, the contract must be approved by the Labour Department. Otherwise, it is a normal contract. In the apprentice contract, certain provisions, such as the notice period provision, it is excluded. But you can't exclude it on your own. Approved, then you can. If it's approved, then that provisions are not part of it. And confinement previously was 28 weeks. Malaysia was 22. So now it has been reduced to 22. So this is quite aligned with Peninsula and Sabah and Sarawak. So in other words, right, if a female employee, she has completed 22 weeks of pregnancy and she delivers a child, whether the child is alive or the child passed away, she is entitled for maternity and the husband is entitled for paternity, right, of 98 days. Husband will be 7 days, wife will be 98 days. And the wife, right, so that is on confinement. And yeah, so these are some new labels that is created. Who is a constructional contractor? Who is a contractor for labor? So all these you can read it on your own. Contractor for labor are those who supply manpower to another company. So those company doing outsourcing, you are contractor for labor. And what is the meaning of eligible period? So for maternity, it is now 98 days. This is also aligned with, even Peninsula, it was 60. Now it has become 98. So all three, Peninsula, Sabah, Sarawak, it is now 98 days. Also, the word family, there's, in the past, you can see on the left-hand side, deleted. In the past, it's husband or wife or wives. Now it is father, mother, sibling, or any other guardian who has a custody of a child or young person. So if you anak angkat, right, that's anak angkat, legally adopted, that is, part of family. So the father, the mother, the siblings, right? So you don't see like stepchildren, in the past, stepchildren, right? So those are not part of the, category under family. And over time, you can see on the left and right, a small, technical difference. In the past, overtime means what? When you work beyond your normal hours. If your normal hours is 8 hours, if you work beyond, that is overtime. And then you can see the word "and." That means overtime means you work beyond your normal hours and includes if any time work, if you work more than 10 hours or if you're at office 10 hours, anything more than 10, spread over 10, it's considered as work hour, as overtime. So now you can see overtime means it can be either work carried out after your normal hours or if you work in excess of 10 hours. So this is the changes. Peninsular Malaysia, is aligned with this as well. And part-time employee, right? Who's a part-time employee? A part-time employee are those who work more than 30% of full-time hours, but less than 70%. So let's say now we work 45 hours, right? For full-time employee, Employment Act, Sarawak Labour Ordinance, Sabah Labour Ordinance says that full-time hours is 45. So those who work between 30% to 70%, roughly is about 13.5 hours to 31.5 hours. That is a part-time category, right? So yesterday we shared, or shall I say today morning, if you go to Facebook, you will see a new policy that we have created to suggest to companies to create a flexible workforce. So you can see a part-time employment policy, and together with it is also a comparison, right? What is the annual leave for part-timers? What is the annual leave? What is the public holiday for part-timers? What is the OT rate? What is the sick leave? Right? It's not the same, right? If full-timers get 8 days, 10 days, 12 days, part-time, sorry, 8, 12, and 16, part-timer, theirs is lower because they are part-timer. So please have a look at the policy. You will find it useful. And what has also been added is sexual harassment. I will not go through that. You can read it. And also the definition of what is spread over a period of 10 hours. This has been there, but there was no definition. So what exactly it is meant by spread over a period of 10 hours? So let me give you in a very simple explanation. Our normal hours is 8, right? Let's say if our normal hours is 8 and lunch is 1 hour. So total hours is 9. But let's say now, if the employee is required to be in the office for more than 10 hours, but his actual work hours is only 8, right? Maybe we have too many breaks. We got break 1, break 2, break 3, or the break is too long. What he says here, if the employee continue to stay back after hour number 10, right, the spread over hours after 10, that hours after 10, it's overtime hours. Even if you put a break at jam ke 11, that break is a paid break. So that is why if you see companies with 12-hour shift, the second break, if you notice some companies, unless you're doing it wrongly or unless you're doing it differently, but the second break is always before the hour number 10. Before the 10 hour complete, the second break is done. But if the second break is after the hour number 10, selepas jam ke 10, then that break has to be a paid break, has got to be overtime. So if you have such a practice where you require employees to stay more than 10 hours, but you only pay them for 8 hours work, this might be applicable to you. Please get it checked. And I will skip some of it because some of it you can read it. It's straightforward. I don't want to waste time on it. But if you have any questions, you may ask. If I got time, I will answer. Or you can also ask in our Facebook group or our Sarawak Sabah WhatsApp group. So those of you all, if you want to join our Sabah Sarawak WhatsApp group, we have a special group for Sabah Sarawak WhatsApp. You can always, text Yon in the chat box, and we can send the group link to you. So sexual harassment under Section 7Q. So now don't worry about the section because Sabah and Sarawak, your sections are a little bit different. So please ignore the section because contents are the same, but if here Section 7, the other side could be Section 8. So let's ignore the section. Let's focus on what are the changes. So sexual harassment. Now this is aligned with Peninsula, Sabah, and Sarawak. So this provision of sexual harassment. What it says here, a sexual harassment, there could be a complaint by an employee against another employee that he or she has been sexually harassed, by employee against an employer, against a superior, for example, or an employee against an employee. So that is sexual harassment. So if there's a complaint of sexual harassment, you must investigate, right? You must investigate. And you should investigate within 30 days. So you cannot take more than 30 days. So the moment if somebody, puts up a report, you must investigate. If you don't want to investigate within 30 days, then you got to inform the employee in writing why you refuse to investigate. An employee can also bring this to labor and inform labor that the company has not investigated, right? You can see subsection 4. If they are not happy with the action taken by you, they may refer this to the director. So the director, he may review the matter. When we say director means we're referring to Labour Department. So the director of the Labour Department may review it. And if the Labour thinks that, hey, this you should investigate, they may require you to conduct investigation, right? So in short, if there is a complaint of sexual harassment, please investigate. And what kind of punishment can we take? Now, lot of us have this idea or have this view that sexual harassment means we must terminate them. If this employee is guilty of sexual harassment, we must terminate. But if you look at what the provision allows, Sabah Sarawak Peninsula, we are all on the same page. We can dismiss the employee without notice, right? Because it's a misconduct, it's an offense, right? If the employee is guilty, we can dismiss him without notice. We can downgrade the employee, or we can impose any other lesser punishment, right? Impose any other lesser punishment if it is justifiable, right? So if the employee, you can, in other words, right, I can choose not to terminate him or her. I can choose not to downgrade him or her. I can, decide, you know what, you are guilty. We are going to suspend you for 2 weeks with no pay at all as a punishment. I know there's another form of suspension that is for investigation purposes, but this suspension is a penalty. That means it's a punishment. And so you must also exhibit conspicuously. Conspicuously means you got to put up notice of awareness where people can see, where employees can see, posters or notices. If you fail to do, penalty of 50,000 maximum fine. So please put up notice of awareness. If you don't know how to do one, there are 8 sample posters in our Facebook group. Download it, use it. Or if you can do one of your own, even better, do something up to create awareness, right? To raise awareness on sexual harassment. So this is a very simple thing to do. But failure to do so, then there's a fine for it. And the other item that has been added on is discrimination, right? You can see there, the previous discrimination clause deleted, now a new provision. So what it says here, and if there's a discrimination, if an employee feels he or she is being discriminated, they can also raise this to the Labour Department. And Labour Department, if they investigate, they find that you're guilty, they give you a directive not to do it, and you fail, then you may be liable for a fine of 50,000 ringgit. This is maximum fine, not exceeding. That means tidak melebihi 50,000. But if this offense continues, you continue to do it, then a daily fine. That means, every day, a fine not more than 1,000. So you just imagine, if this continues for 90 days, that means the daily fine, if you compound it, it can be, of course, it says that max is 90,000. You might get a discount, who knows, but that is a lot of money. So basic rule, if there's a discrimination, firstly, don't allow discrimination. Do not do it. But if there is, and you've been instructed to improvise it, don't do it, stop it, etc., please follow. But of course, you'll be asking me, what exactly is discrimination? When we give an employee, let's say an A performer gets 5% increment, B employee gets 3%, is that discrimination? That is not. You're rewarding based on performance. Everybody has a fair, equal chance. You get an A, you get 5%. He gets a B, he gets lower. Or A performer gets 2-month bonus and a C performer gets, let's say, 0. So is this called discrimination? No. This is paid based on performance. But where this could arise, a peculiar issue, 2 employees, same job category, both have got laptop, both can do their work at home, both apply for work from home, you approve one, but you don't approve the other. And the reason given by you is also doesn't sound right. So this employee can say that I'm being discriminated because she got it, I didn't get it, right? I'm just giving one, example that you may have never thought of, but it can happen. So please be careful. You must also know what your managers are doing, because I know some of you allow your managers, certain things you left it to the managers. But what's happening there? Do you know what's happening there? Are the managers following it through? Are they being fair? Or are they discriminating one against the other? So you must know as HR, because if this issue goes up or it goes to Labour Department, now you become very busy. So always set the ground rule, make sure your policies are there, whatever policies, communicate the policies, train your managers, tell them the do's and don'ts, and what should they do if they come across a situation that may give rise to discrimination, for example. So they should call you as HR, okay, I got this scenario, what should I do? So, but are you in control of things? Or you just let the manager decide, do what they want to do? So as HR, you must be in control. Not that you must do the job. You can delegate the job. You can tell the manager, okay, this is what the policy says. This is the company policy. What is what, etc. Uh, the management wants managers to be able to execute it. But what are the do's and don'ts? What is the red line that they shouldn't cross? When should they come back? When should they confide? When should they speak to HR? When should they update HR? When should they get HR's involvement? Now, this is what you have to do. So when you do this way, the processes are transparent. The managers know what they need to do. They know what is the red line they cannot cross, when they should reach out to HR, when HR should step in. So this is what I call as an organized organization. But if it's a cowboy environment, everybody can do what they want, etc. When there's a problem, you need to turun padang. And often the issue is no longer small. The issue is big. So as HR, we don't want to waste time there. So do you want to prevent issues, or do you want to only react when issues happen? So if you want to prevent issues, remember the very old term, very old, what do you call this, statement, prevention better than cure. Prevention is cheaper than cure. So prevention is easier than cure. So always learn or always put in mechanism to not allow issues to happen. So managers, they must be alert. If they know, they must know when or where should I stop and when should I trigger HR. Not coming to you when things are in a bad shape, right? At that moment, it is going to be a legal risk to company. On the right-hand side, you can see the new clause on prohibition of forced labor. So this is something added on, similar to Sabah, similar to Sarawak, similar to Peninsular Malaysia. So forced labor, right? If any employee threaten, deceive, or force an employee to do any activity, that means you force them. You don't allow them to leave your workplace. You cheat them, right? This is forced labor. So forced labor, the fine is not more than 100,000 ringgit, or a jail term of not more than 2 years, or both, right? It can be a jail term and a fine. So this is forced labor. So when you bring an employee, or you call it resident, non-resident, when you bring in a non-resident employee from outside Sarawak or outside Sabah, you got to make sure that these are also taken care of. Now, forced labor is not necessarily only foreigners. Even the local employee can be in a forced labor situation. This has happened. There's a case in Peninsular Malaysia, a Malaysian couple. They were in a plantation. They were not allowed to leave, etc. So that is also forced labor. So forced labor is not only foreigners, also can affect locals. Child and young person. Now, so you can, what has happened here is, so you can see no child or young person that can be engaged in hazardous work. So you cannot ask a child or young person to work in any job that can be dangerous to them. So there is a, first schedule, second schedule. There's a schedule that is created to explain what are those hazardous work, right? And so you can also see if there's a light work. I'm just going to jump a little bit. You can read this. So you know at least where to. After the webinar is over, please read thoroughly. It is very important as HR practitioner. You have the Sarawak Labour Ordinance. I didn't bring the book today. You must have the Sarawak Labour Ordinance with you. Everybody must have it. If you don't have it, please contact your Labour Department. There's a red color book that they sell, which contains the latest updated version. So you cannot say, I don't know, I don't have, and whatnot. It's already a year, you got to have it. If you don't have it, something is wrong somewhere, right? We can buy the latest handphone, we can go and watch the latest movie, but we cannot buy the latest book. We always give excuses when it comes to learning. Buying a book, we got excuses. But holiday, we go first. Gadgets, we buy first. Movie, we buy. We go watch, right? Please get this book. Every one of y'all, you must have this book with you. So once you get it, please read in thorough, because these slides, I had to cover a few here and there, what is added, what is taken out in different color code. So please read it, right? Please get the Sarawak Labour Ordinance and the Sabah Labour Ordinance, and please read it. So, under Section 72, I think this was Sarawak, if I'm not mistaken, but don't worry about the 72 or what, similar. So a young person, who's a young person, those below the age of 18, they may be engaged in hazardous work. That means they can work in difficult work like this, or dangerous work like this, if it is under an apprentice contract, or if they're going through a vocational training. So for example, in Malaysia, right, whether Sabah Sarawak Peninsula, let's say somebody at the age of 16, or even I don't know about 15, but let's say 16, they can take up SKM certificate, Kimpalan, welding. Welding is hazardous in my view because it's dangerous. So they can take up a certificate or training in welding, but they are being supervised. So that would fall under this. And so here you can see I've cancelled because these are all taken off. So you can also see that young person, that means below the age of 18, above 18, no issues. Above 18, they are no longer young person. So those below 18, they cannot work as a domestic servant. In the past, they can, but with this new amendment, cannot. They cannot work in bars. They cannot work in clubs, right? They cannot work in hotels, bars, restaurant, boarding houses, or clubs, right? Unless if the management, so all these are deleted, right? So that means they cannot at all. So you cannot hire somebody at the age of 18. Sometimes they finish SPM and then they are looking for a job, and you say, oh, never mind, come and work for me. But they are not yet 18. So be careful. Finishing SPM does not mean they're 18, because they could be 17. So when they finish SPM, they are not yet 18. They could be 18 the next year, maybe June, July, December. So if you were to hire them, you have to ensure that they do not work in bars, in club, as a domestic servant. That means pembantu rumah, all this cannot. So there's a third schedule that has been created. There's a second schedule which explains what are the jobs that a young person can do, or cannot do, and also the schedule of hazardous work. What is hazardous work, right? We'll go through that later. And so you can also see a small amendment to child and young person. For example, here, Sarawak and Sabah may have a little bit different, so I'm only going to share one. So previously, a child, who is a child? Child is below 15. Young person is below 18. A child cannot be expected to work between the hours of 8 o'clock in the evening and 7 o'clock. So now, they cannot work after 6 o'clock in the evening. Last time they can work from 8 o'clock night onwards. Now 6 o'clock that's it. By 6 o'clock evening, they cannot work. They must, you have to stop them. You have to let them go home. So this is a small change in this provision. And similarly, young person in the past, they can work from 8 o'clock in the evening until 6 o'clock the next day morning. Now they cannot work. They cannot work, right? You cannot ask them to work between 6 o'clock in the evening until 7 o'clock. That means they have to go back earlier. So this is another change. And all these provisions are deleted. Night work, females cannot work at night. Those days, remember, you apply for night shift permit. So all this today, that is deleted. Now you can require a female employee to work at night without having to apply for night shift permit. Maternity, and this is similar with Sabah, Sarawak, and Peninsula. So maternity, as you all know, is 98 days, the period. And an employee, if she delivers a child, and this is the first 5 living child, she will get 90 days leave and allowance together with it. But if, let's say, the female employee, she wants to come back to work, 90 days, she may, a female employee may say, 90 days is too long. I don't need 98 days. My father is there, my mother-in-law is there, I've got a maid. I want to come back to work after 60 days. So now, if she wants to come back, can she come back? She can, because the provision says that they may come back with 2 conditions. One, the company has approved it. That means the company has given the consent. Okay, you can come back. Number 2, she must be certified fit to resume work. The doctor must say she's fit enough to start work, to continue work. So these 2 conditions must be met. And if there's any balance allowances not paid, you need to pay her. So if she come back to work after 60 days, the remaining 38 days allowances, you got to pay her. And the salary as well. So if you feel, why should I pay her too? Then don't ask her to come back. don't allow her to come back. So if I'm a female employee, and if I say, boss, can I come back to work? You say, can, you can come back to work. So what happened to my allowance, the balance allowance, the maternity allowance, or that one I cannot pay? So for me, then why should I come back? I'd rather stay at home because I'm paid already. So if I come to work, I don't get allowance, I get salary, no difference for me, there's no carrot. So I'd rather stay at home. So, but companies, you cannot force them, right? You can't force them. And you know, maternity allowance is for the first 5 living children. It doesn't matter what age. The first child can be 25 years old, and the mother delivered her child number 6, her child number 5. So you cannot say, oh, because the first child is above 21. No, because Employment Act, Sarawak Labour Ordinance, Sabah Labour Ordinance says that the meaning of children means natural children, not anak angkat, irrespective of the age. That means tak kisah berapa umur. So if the first child 21, he's still considered one living child. And pregnant employees, can you terminate them? Now, what it says here, when a female employee is pregnant, or if they suffer from an illness arising out of their pregnancy. So when they are pregnant, or if they suffer, because of their pregnancy, they become ill due to the pregnancy, cannot terminate her. Except, right, cannot terminate her. Except if the female employee committed a breach, did something against the contract, or there's a misconduct, right? Something serious, a serious offense, or if the company closed shop, the company decided to, company wind down, right? They wind up, they are no longer, they retrench everybody. So for these 3 reasons, yes. Now, business closure is not the same as department closure. You cannot say, oh, this department is redundant, or this job is redundant, I want to retrench her. Unfortunately, you can't. There's one case that went to the industrial court. The department closed, not the company. The employer used this clause to say that, business closure, but the court says that the provision that is allowed here is employer's business closure, not department closure. So the company lost the case. I'm not sure whether the company is appealing, but if you follow that particular case, be careful with item 1C. It is employer's business closure. That means the whole company closed, not department. Okay, and so what it says here, when a female employee becomes eligible, right, she's eligible for her maternity allowances, you cannot terminate her, right? So this one I think is quite straightforward. Please read it, right? Sometimes, what may have happened, the female employee already qualified. There's 2 conditions to qualify. We will not cover this today. Number 1, they must have worked for 90 days, and they must have served or worked at least 1 day in the 4 months before her confinement. So what happened was, she's already eligible. She's already eligible, but she is absent after that, right? As a result of illness and so on, or she can't work anymore, then it's an offense to terminate her. So please read this to get a better picture. And advance, right? I know we can give advance to employee, but you must also know that the advance that you give them cannot be more than 1 month, or at least, cannot be more than the wage they've earned in the previous month. So let's say somebody who's earning basic salary, the basic salary is 2,005. If the employee wants an advance, the maximum advance we can give is 2,005 because that's what they earn, the 1 month back. But can we exceed, or can we give advance more than 1 month? Answer is yes. You can give an advance more than 1 month if it's to purchase a house, purchase a land, purchase a car, or a bicycle, or a motor car, or if he wants to buy shares, or he wants to buy what has been added on. The items in black has been there. The items in green is newly added. If he wants to buy a computer, if the employee wants to pay for medical expenses for himself or his family, or he wants to pay for educational expenses for himself or family. For these reasons, you can also exceed the 1 month, right? Of course, it does not mean he asked means you must give. If the employee wants, say, boss, I want to apply for 3 months advance salary because my son is going to go to university. I want to pay for his college fees. Now, for that reason, you can. But if it's just a cash advance, you can't, right? For these purposes, not just the green, from item A, B, C, D, E, EA, EB, EC, ED, F, right? And also G. For these purposes, yes, you can exceed, you can give him more than 1 month. But other than this, you can't. And now when we said, let me go back a little bit. So when we say here, pay for medical expenses for himself or his immediate family, and pay for educational expenses for himself and immediate family. Who is the family here, right? Who's meant by family? So the definition is given, right? What it says here, when we say immediate family members, it is being referred to the father, the mother, spouse means wife, right? Wife or, legally, and maybe he might have 2 legal wives, right? Father, mother, spouse, children, or any person under their guardianship, right? They could be anak angkat, right? Or they may have somebody else, they have got, the court order to put under their guardianship. So this is allowed. So for the purpose of any of them, if they're not feeling well, right, they need some medical attention, the employee may come to you saying that, I want to pay for my immediate family's medical expenses. So you want to give, you give, right? But for other than this, if the employee just said, I just want advance for for house renovation, right? Can we give? So let's go back to the previous one. Do you see any house here? You can see A. To enable him to purchase a house or to build or to improve a house, right? So renovation may fall there. So renovation, he can also ask for advance, provided you want to give. But if he says, I want advance, why? No, I want to go for travel. None of it is there, right? You don't see the word travel anywhere. So travel, unfortunately, you should not give, because this provision doesn't allow you to give for travels. So please read this limitation in advance. And public holiday. So for Sarawak, you can see the items in green is newly added. So for Sarawak, you have got 6 mandatory holiday. Peninsula is only 5. Sarawakians, you're a bit more, more advantageous because you got 6. So you have got Malaysia Day. You also have Sarawak Independence Day. So if you see the difference between all the states, you can see Sarawak has got 1 additional item, which is Sarawak Independence Day. Sabah is 5. So, now it's official in the Act or in the Ordinance, you've got Malaysia Day. So Peninsula is 5, Sarawak is 6, Sabah is 5. Now this is the mandatory. What is the total public holiday that must be given? For Peninsula is 11 days, and whatever is declared under Section 8 by the federal government, that is a must, right? Section 8 is a must. For Sarawak, it's 18 days. So Sarawak, you have the most number of public holiday. So 18 days and whatever is declared under Section 104, 1B. So tomorrow, if let's say your premier announces a special holiday, maybe election or whatever, then that holiday becomes mandatory for Sarawak. For Peninsula, we are under Section 8, Section 9, under the Holidays Act. So for Peninsula, it's different. For Sarawak and Sabah, so if your federal minister or your chief minister of Sabah announces a special holiday for whatever purposes, that becomes mandatory for Sabah. So for Peninsula, what is the minimum holiday? If I were to ask this question, what is the minimum holiday? It is 11 plus Section 8. For Sarawak, it's 18 plus Section 101B. For Sabah, it's 15 plus Section 103, 1B. So Sabah, Sarawak, the numbering of your sections are not the same, right? And so that is on holiday. And what we have also seen the change is the work hours. So it was 48 hours for all 3. When I say all 3 means I refer to Peninsula, Sabah, Sarawak. Today is 45. And the provision also, the title of that section from hours of work, it is now working at night, hours of work and working at night. So simple, 45 has become 48 became 45. But just to let you know, remember Malaysia wanted to sign the CPTPP agreement and we were asked to comply with certain international labor organizations standards. Under ILO, there's one, what is the word? One part on the work hours, the reduction of basic hours. So ILO's charter on reduction of work hours is 40. We are 45. So could there be a possibility one day, don't know when, the government reduce this further from 45 to, let's say, 40 or 42. So for me personally, in my view, it may come one day, right? It may come. So if, let's say, if the government someday, maybe 10 years down the road, 5 years down the road, decides to reduce this further, what is your action plan? What are you going to do? Because from 48 to 45, this already this has already brought about additional labor costs, right? If 45 goes down further, the labor cost will increase again. So as HR, what are we supposed to do? Are we just supposed to communicate, inform our payroll vendor, please update a payroll tool, update a policy? Yeah, that's what you need to do from a very basic perspective. But as HR, your job is not only that, because when it's reduced from 48 to 45, the labor costs have increased. If people stay back, you got to start paying OT. Previously, you pay OT for below 2005. Now, below 4K, you got to pay OT. So how? So what HR should be doing? A rubber stamp department or an administrative HR department, what they'll do, they just administer. Okay, update policy, inform employee, make sure the payroll system is in order, and that's it. But a strategic HR department, what should you do? You got to work with your business units, your line managers. What can we do to improve efficiency? What can we do to improve competency? What can we improve? What can we do to be able to get people to complete their task faster? How do we improve productivity? How do we, get people to, adopt new tools? For example, some areas where you can train your managers or train your employees how to use AI to speed up their work. So you got to spend a lot of time to enable efficiency, to enable higher productivity. So that's what HR department should be doing. But if you're just busy stamping contract or perkeso now, how this, that, etc., then we are losing focus. I'm not saying that don't comply with what perkeso is telling us now. Please comply, but don't put that as the most important or heaviest priority. After all, perkeso gave deadline until 31st August. So what is the rush? Are we trying to say that if we can complete perkeso's requirement now, we are champion? I can tell the boss that I've done one day. You are the biggest loser if you do that. Because why? There is no value there. Perkeso has given us until 31st August. Why rush? What about competency? What about efficiency? What about productivity? What about discipline in the line? What about training our line managers? What about compliance, right, to other things? What about doing up your PIP? What about doing up our probation management? What about training managers on how to engage in difficult conversation? What about getting managers trained on behavioral interview, competency-based interview? This, whatever that I've just mentioned, this brings the company to the next, to the next, to the next. This is not going to bring your company anywhere except getting it done and comply and tell perkeso I've done it. So do you want to be a HR director one day? Do you want to be somebody successful in HR? Do you want to enjoy your job? Do you want to see your job to be more meaningful, earn more money, right? Do this. I'm not saying don't do this. You still have to do it because it's law. You want to be compliant, but you must know how to balance your work. You must know where to put your, focus on, where you should do it, get it done, and move on. So I believe, or this is my view, and those of you, if you have been watching the webinars that we do, or if you have attended our classes, I'm so hard. I'm so hard. I show no mercy on HR who behaves like a highly paid administrator, a highly paid clerk. I'm very angry with them. Why? Because you're not doing justice to your company. Your company wants you to help them to grow the business. Your bosses may not tell you this, but you as HR, you need to help the production or help your operations, how to help people to work faster, work better, how to help in innovation, how to help in competency, how to help in making sure that everybody works in one common direction, how to help the line managers to remove employees who are misbehaving or manage them, or poor performers, the CCC guys, right? That's your job, not this paperwork. And sick leave, right? So in the past, the 14 days is part of the 60. So maximum is 60. From the 60, there's 14 days of sick leave. Today, the hospitalization leave and the sick leave, it's treated separately. So instead of total 60, It is now total 74, 1782. Now, one of the biggest challenges you have today is that employee abuse sick leave. Yesterday, they were perfectly okay. Today, they say, I'm on sick leave. Tomorrow, they come back, they perfectly look okay. Okay, I don't know what disease they have, but they can be okay yesterday, they're okay tomorrow, but today they're on sick leave, right? Potentially, this could be an abuse. If an employee is having flu, cough, fever, you can see certain signs. They'll be cold, they'll be wearing a mask, they'll be coughing. But, so when you see a trend, on and off, this employee goes on sick leave, surely there's something wrong, right? What should you do? Today, if I were to see you, if I'd ask you on, okay, come, let's talk about issues that you have. I'm sure many of you are going to say that, oh, MC, how, etc. Now, we complain as HR, we complain, we grumble, we whine, we cry about it, but we are not doing much about it. So what should you do? If you see an abuse, send them for assessment, fix their clinic, monitor them, give them a letter. But if you don't do any of this, the employee will feel that, oh, you know what, I'm untouchable. I can take MCs. My rights. Answer is no. MC is your right. MC adalah hak anda hanya bila anda tak sihat. It's not your hak. MC is your right only when you're not feeling well. So sometimes, you may say that, oh, I think the doctor, I don't know what the doctor did, etc. Sometimes it's not a doctor issue. Certain illnesses is based on declaration. If I had diarrhea last night, how do I prove to the doctor I got diarrhea? The doctor will just see my condition. He'll say, you look so bad. What happened to you? Okay, I ate something wrong. I went to toilet a couple of times last night and my condition is so bad. My body is weak, right? The doctor will probably say your condition is bad. Why not you take this oral medicine, rest one day? But if it's fever, you can always put a thermometer. Oh yeah, you're having fever, right? But not every illness can be tested. So sometimes the doctor will, take in the declaration. Listen, look into the declaration by the employee. The employee declare that he has not been feeling well, but he was okay. So he misdeclared. He made a false declaration. That is malingering. How do you spot that? What do you do? So you need to learn how to manage these employees, right? Those of you all, if you have joined the masterclass, we have done one chapter on it, or those of you all, if you joined the webinar, we've also done one chapter on it, right? So you got to do something. Don't just whine, cry, grumble, complain about it, but you don't know what to do, right? Because why? The cost of MC, it's, when somebody goes on MC, right, you're paying two costs. You got to pay the clinic. Some of you are paying for medical. You pay for the medical costs, and you got to pay the salary for the day. So two costs. That's a lot of money. And then because this employee is not well, he's unable to come. Let's say if he's in production, right? Somebody else have to come and do overtime. Now you got a third cost in. You got to pay him OT to cover for this employee who was absent. So three costs. What is the cost of it? I tell you, it can be 50, 80, 100 ringgit. But here we are busy how to avoid stamping, how to avoid 10 ringgit. But the cost of somebody abusing MC, there's an MC cost, you got to pay for the day, and the cost of overtime for someone else to cover him. So where should be our focus? Do you know that you can control it? Have you downloaded the sample medical policy we shared in the forum? If you don't download it, if you did not download it, it's your loss. That policy that we have shared, if you download it, you read it, it gives you a tight control over abusers. So if you say that, oh, we have got this issue, but you have not done anything about it. So please go to Facebook. Please download. It is called Medical Process Policy, right? Download it, read it, talk to your bosses, show it to them, right? Fine tune it if you need to, implement it, communicate, take action. And if you take action and you do it diligently, you will see your MC costs drop tremendously. So please do it. Don't just whine, complain, grumble, oh, MC, do something about it, right? I will salute you for that. I will not give you even a brownie point. Oh, I've done perkeso. I've done all the things. To me, you're the biggest loser. Why? Because there's no value there at all. Here, we are wasting money. People are abusing the company. They are cheating the company, and you allowed it. So you see, where's our focus? And on and off, people ask, if my employee masuk hospital, dia keluar, should it be hospitalization leave or sick leave? What does it say here? Provided, right? Of course, there's some changes. you can see there the first provision deleted. It says, provided that the employee is certified by such medical practitioner to be ill enough. So today, if an employee come and say me, okay, this, he gives me MC, I would say this is just MC. You want me to consider hospitalization leave? Please get your doctor to certify it as hospitalization leave. So communicate. Don't just tell them last minute. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's say you're all my employees. I would like to share with you the latest policy update on medical. So if you all happen to fall sick and you will give us an MC, we will consider as MC. If it's hospitalization leave, you must give us some evidence that the doctor has endorsed or suggested hospitalization leave. Better still ask him to chop and sign on it, right? Then we'll consider HL. But if you come and give us a blank MC, then we'll consider sick leave. So it's your job. So remember HR. I always tell HR this. Please do not put all the burden on your head. You are already, already busy. You're already tired. You're already stressed up. Now you take more burden and put on your head. You become cuckoo, right? The next time I come and see you, I probably visit you in Tanjung Rambutan, right? So what should you do? You tell the employees, if you are not well, please get MC. You give us an MC, valid, we consider as MC. But if you claim that it's hospitalization leave, it is your job, ladies and gentlemen, right? Employee, it's your job. Please get your doctor to do it, right? Give it to us. If we see there is hospitalization, we consider HL. So please don't take burden on you. You're already busy. You're already tired. You're already stressed up. So certain things, you got to throw it back to the employee. Put the burden on them. They are applying for it. You have no access to their doctor. No point you call here, call Facebook, call Labour Department, how, this, that, no need. You throw it back to the employee. You tell them in advance. Ladies and gentlemen, employees, if you happen to be admitted someday and you want us to consider as hospitalization leave, right? Get it certified by the doctor. So please start doing that. Please communicate it. And paternity leave, I think you all know, 7 consecutive days, right? The male must be married. So he must be a married employee and he must work, work for you for 12 months, 12 continuous months, right? Then he is entitled to 7 days. Now remember, this is also applicable to foreign employees, not just local. Because if you look at the ordinance, it does not say anywhere that only for resident employee. So if you hired somebody from Philippines or Indonesia, he is entitled to it as well. If his wife delivers, right, he's married, he is entitled to it. So you cannot say no to him. He can go back to Indonesia or Philippines, 1 day flight back, 1 day flight in. He can spend 5 days at home. So you can't say no, right? So this is for you. For me, I will give something more favorable. I would tell the employee, if you want, you're not going to go back, you can preserve this leave. When you go back in 2 years' time, guna pakai in 2 years' time. You can do that if you want to. There is a sample paternity leave application form in the Facebook. Same goes to maternity leave application form, where all these processes, the flow is there, right? Please download it if you don't have one. Calculation of wages, if an employee, let's say today is what? Today is 16, right? So if the employee report to work today, what day is today? 16 or 20, sorry. Right? If today is 20, right? Employee report to work today. How do I calculate the salary from 20 to 30th of June? Or today is the last day. How do I calculate the salary from 1st to 20th? Or if they took unpaid leave of 3 days, how do I calculate? This is the formula. So for those of you all, if you're doing payroll, you know this. You take the wages, divide the number of days in this month or this wage period, is either 30 or some months could be 31, and how many days that is eligible for the salary. So in a month, you took 3 unpaid leave, so it'll be 27 for this month. And the other interesting part is when should you pay wages, right? When should you pay wages? So this is what you can see, but let me share in a much more easier diagram to understand, right? This is the diagram. Now, we all know wages, their basic salary and allowances must be paid 7th of the next month at the latest. So if it's August salary, August work, August, right? Let's say this month is August. Whatever salary this month, his basic salary, allowances in cash for work done, must be paid by the 7th of September. But do you know that if employee works on a rest day, he works on a public holiday, and his overtime pay, you can choose to pay before September ends, before the end of next wage period. Some of you all might be doing this, but for me personally, I wouldn't recommend, because you're just making life more cumbersome. You have to calculate 2 times, right? So to me, any company that makes all the payment one go, you are more efficient, but the law allows you to pay for rest day, public holiday pay. This is when they work. When they work on a rest day, when they work on public holiday, the overtime, the law allows you to pay before the next wage period expires. This is the same for Peninsula, Sabah, and Sarawak. Now, this is, so again, when should you pay salary, right? So just now, let me go back one table. This is for normal month, right? He's still working, right? When should you pay? But what happens when the contract ends, when the employment ends, right? So this particular slide is for Sabah. The next one I will show one for Sarawak. So under section 108A and 108B, now if the fixed term contract, let's say you hire an employee under fixed term contract, the contract ends today, or the employee resign, he give you notice period 2 months. So that means in in May, he's given you notice, boss, I not resign. Notice period 2 months. So July 20th is my last day. He already given you 2 months notice ahead. So when should you pay his salary? According to section 108, you got to pay not later than the day when the contract, that means you can pay me yesterday or the day before, but today, right, you have to pay the contract. By today, you got to pay. The latest is today. You can pay me yesterday, because you know 2 months ago I'm going to resign. You know it. So you got to pay me. You got to pay me last week, or the previous week, previous month, or yesterday, or latest today. Not on the 7th of August. Now, section 10B, if the company terminates, you don't give notice, right? The employee committed misconduct. You also got to pay on the day. That means today you terminate my contract, you pay me today. Now, this provision, right? Please go and read your Employment Act. Ordinance, you'll find it there. So, as a company, if I terminate you, I know when you're going to go. Even the first case, I know when you're going. You've already given me notice, right? Or I have given you notice. Company going to close down. We're going to shut the company July 20th. I've already told you ahead. So I know when it's closed, when you're ending. In the second scenario, I'm going to terminate you today. I will tell you today. So in both scenarios, today is the last day to pay. You must pay today. First scenario, you can pay last week, last month, because you know in advance. The second scenario, you terminate me today, you pay me today. The third scenario, when the employee terminate, they don't give you notice. Suddenly they say, boss, today I want to stop work. Last day today. Maybe your notice period is 1 day. Or maybe, your notice period is 1 week, he give you 1 day notice. So in this scenario, because as a company, you cannot tell me all of a sudden, because I got to prepare the money, right? So you are given not more than 3 days to pay his wages, right? Payment to him, whatever salary that you owe him, not more than 3 days. So this is for Sabah. This is for Sabah, yes. For Sarawak, right? For Sarawak, almost similar. For the first part, you got to pay. You got to pay on the first day, or if that is a rest day or a holiday, pay on the following day. But you see the last part, section 109B, when the employee terminate and he don't give notice, you must pay by the 7th after the day he give you notice. So Sabah is 3, for Peninsula is 3, for Sarawak is 7. So in other words, if the employee terminates the contract without notice, you got to pay him by the 7th. Today, if let's say the employee give you notice today, you got to pay the employee no later than 7 days, right? So from today, you calculate before the day number 7, right, expire, you must pay. So today is 20th, right? So 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. So before 27 July, that means by end of the day, 27 July, you have to pay him. So this is what it says. So now this could be something that you're hearing for the first time. Today, you're comfortable paying people end of the month or together with payroll, but this provision exists, Sabah, Sarawak Peninsula. So please go and read it, check it out. and see what you need to tweak in your process, right? Of course, you'll tell me, every day there's somebody resigning, every day there's somebody ending contract. Unfortunately, the law is there. Unfortunately, law says so. And so here, wages to be paid in legal tender. So what it says here, just hang on a second. Okay. So what it says here, salary must be paid to employee in their bank account. I'm sure many of you are doing it. You can also, in some cases, you can also pay via cash if they don't have a bank account with approval. So I think this, you're quite familiar. Let me skip this. So please read all this. And let me skip all. So I think all this, you know it. So let me just read it. Quite straightforward. So here what it says, an employee, if the employee requests, you can also make payment to him in legal tender, that means cash or by check, right? And you must, employer, after the employee requests to you, obtain approval from the director to pay in legal tender or check. So employee can request, get approval and pay. So this is quite straightforward. So let me skip this. And let me skip this. Let me cover this. Now, what it says that, is there any other payment other than wages? You might be paying an incentive, right? Special incentive. Now, if the incentive plan, if it's not approved by the director, in this case, JTK, for example, if it's not approved, it is part of wages. You got to put it into ORP. So this is for any incentive payment. Approved, not approved by your board of directors or your MD. This incentive plan must be approved by the Labour Department. Now, let me share with you one part of bonus that you may not know of. Now, if I were to ask all of you all, is bonus wages? Do I need to put bonus into ORP? You'll probably tell me no. Now, if the bonus is the same amount, you pay everybody the same amount, everybody gets 1 month or everybody gets 2 months. Now, that is bonus, not part of wages. But if your bonus is paid based on individual performance, right? Different employee, they get different amount. You can call it profit sharing bonus, performance-based bonus, etc. When the bonus differs from employee to employee, that is no longer bonus, that is part of wages, which got to be included into your ORP. So please get this checked. For those of you all, if you're paying bonus based on individual performance and not a standard amount for everyone. If you're paying everybody the same amount, that is bonus. But if you're paying different employee different amount, that is not bonus per se. That has got to be part of wages, has got to be ORP as well. So please get this checked. If you're giving this, please go to your nearest Labour Department, get their input, or write to Labour Department and get their guidance or advice. For those of you all, if you are supplying labor, you're doing manpower business, right? Sabah, Sarawak Peninsula, any contractor for labor, if you are doing manpower, you are a contractor for labor, you need to register with Labour Department within 14 days before you supply the employee. So if you're going to, let's say now you got a client, the client says, okay, you know what, company so-and-so, can you supply me workers? I need 20 workers. So you go and hire, etc., supply. But if you did not register with labor, with the labor director, within using a form given, within 14 days before you supply, that is an offense, right? If you made an offense and you're convicted, didapati bersalah, a fine not exceeding 50,000 ringgit. So Sabah, Sarawak Peninsula, this is the same. So those of you all, if you're doing manpower supply, not for those who receive manpower, for those who are providing manpower, you are giving manpower to another company, this is for you. And flexible work, right? What is flexi work? Peninsula, Sabah, Sarawak, same, right? Everything that you see here applies to Peninsula, Sabah, and Sarawak. So what it says here, an employee may apply to mengubah suai, to change his hours of work, days of work, place of work. So when he applies, he can apply. You cannot say cannot. Employee may apply, right? You can see in the first part, an employee may apply, boleh apply. You cannot say you cannot. You cannot say flexi work only for executive, because the law says an employee, everybody's an employee. So your job when they apply, right? If you look at the next provision, you must decide within 60 days. Dalam 60 hari, you must decide yes or no, approve or not. If you approve, good news. If you don't approve, you must inform the employee in writing why you rejected him. What is the reason? You must do that. If you don't give the reason, I'm quite sure I will know where these guys are going to go. Because the law says you must give a reason. You reject is fine. You must give a reason. So please give a reason. And there's a form that we have in the forum that allows you, all the whole flow is there. The reason, etc. You chop sign one copy, you give him one copy, you keep. Now, if you rejected him or her, can they go to labor and say that it's unfair to me, I apply, I tak dapat? Honestly speaking, labor department cannot do anything, because for this, they cannot appeal to the labor department. They can go to labor department if you did not give them a reason why you reject. They can go to labor department if you did not decide within 60 days. For this reason, they can go. But when you reject and you give for example, you said rejected because your performance is poor, or rejected because your job must come to office, there's nothing much labor can do, because you've given a reason. And labor cannot review the reason given unless there could be a discrimination, like the example I gave just now. So this is, this is just some extra, slides for you. How do you do your own design? How do you review your flexi work? So this is a simple flexi work matrix. What job you have. So every job, there's something you can do. Now today, your competitor for manpower is not the company next door, right? Those days was the company next door. Today, who is competing with you for manpower? The company next door, yes, for sure, but also the gig economy. GrabFood, Foodpanda, Lala Move, TikToker, those people who are influencer, they do food review. Now, all these people or this industry is also competing against you. And they're very powerful. So, if you hire an operator or a F&B outlet or a logistics, a warehouse, for example, the very low level job, you pay 1,007 because minimum wage. And you want them to work 5 days a week, 6 days a week, 8 hours a day, or even 12 hours a day. How much do they take home? Probably 2,500 to 3,000. But if I were to do the same amount of work, or if I were to do the same amount of time doing the gig job, right? How much would I earn? If I earn more doing gig job, I'd rather go there. Why do I work for you? But if your job pays me more, I will come to work for you for sure. People also, they're smart. I tell you this, the blue collar workers, don't think they're not smart. They also know, they can compare. What for to come and work for you for 5 days a week, 12 hours a day, or 6 days a week, whether 8 hours, 12, what for? If I go do some other job in the gig world, if I can earn the same money or more, I'd rather do there. Why do I want to come work for you? Some employees, they are very short-term minded. Now you will say, no lah, you should work for us because you can get EPF. But when you tell somebody at the age of 20, EPF, yeah, I know you pay me EPF, but I can't touch until 60 years old. What's the point? So many people, they're very short-term minded. You may be thinking, oh, EPF, you every year, every month, 11, 12%, plus your contribution, 23%, you plus the compounding effect. After 20 years, after 30 years, you can get about 500,000, 1 million. Now, because you think long-term, but some people, they are short-term. I tell you, the blue-collar workers, a majority of them, they only think short-term. They don't think long-term. So when you talk to them about EPF, job security, sometimes for them it's like, what for? So how do you deal with them? So the advice here is provide some kind of flexibility. It can be shorter work week, it can be shorter work hours, or you allow them to work from home if there is an opportunity. Not always, but maybe 1 day a month, 2 days a month, whatever you decide, right? Some people don't like work from home. I also don't like work from home. But at where I'm from, where I am today, we do have some kind of flexibility. We go back Friday 4:30. We got 2 weeks paid leave end of the year. Now we are trying Friday half day. So please provide some form of flexibility. Otherwise, you lose your workers. You're not the only employer in town, right? Don't think that you are the only employer in town. There are hundreds others, thousands others out there also hiring. They don't like you, don't like your face, don't like what you pay, they go. That's it. So what do? Exit interview, and then start looking for new employee. Then you retrain them. Pay job straight, pay this, retrain, rehire. After 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, they go, rehire again. You're not putting a stop. So what can you do? That's something for you to think about. So these are some guidelines I won't be able to go through. We have a flexi work arrangement webinar coming up soon. Please join, right? I'll go through in detail. These slides I'll go through in detail. So for now, I don't have, I won't be able to go through, otherwise we'll not be able to finish. But I'm just sharing this with you so you can read it. And there is also a comprehensive policy that you can download from our Facebook community, Facebook page, Facebook group, sample flexi work policy. It covers everything. What do you do when there's a business travel? Where's the point of travel? Who bears the cost? What about safety? What about responsibility? What can the company call you back to work? Can the company cut short and you got to come back? What if you don't come back? So all these are covered in the policy. Please download it. There is also a form to administer this, also downloadable from our Facebook community. So yesterday, or shall I say today morning, those of you all, if you're in the Sarawak Sabah group or you're in a Facebook group, you have seen that we publish a policy called part-time work policy. Now, the part-time regulations that is available in Sabah Sarawak Peninsula allows you to, an employee can, you can offer this to employee, or if employee wants, you can approve it. They can work part-time. What is part-time? 30 to 70% of full-time hours. In short, if you do a bit of calculation, it is 13.5 hours to 31.5 hours. These are part-timers. Part-timers are also employees, right? When we say part-time, it's not the one come 1-2 days for a while, come and go. That is casual workers. So remember, when you label your workforce, full-time, part-time, casual. Full-time covered under the Act, Ordinance. Part-time covered under the Act and Ordinance. Casual workers, they are not employees. They cannot go to Labour Department. So casual workers are those who work below 30%, which is 13.5 hours. If let's say they come and work for you for 13.5 hours or below, they are not employee. They are called casual workers. So get these labels right. Casual, part-time, full-time. Part-time and full-time, they fall under the Act. They fall under the Ordinance. Casual, they are not. So if you have an employee who's retiring and you don't need him to come every day, you can offer him part-time. Say, uncle, or so-and-so, you're going to retire. We do have a part-time arrangement. You come Mondays to Fridays. Pay also, of course, will be less. Are you keen? So for me, I'll make it more attractive by offering, even though they work half, I will offer 60%. So you may say, yeah, why not? At least I got something to do. So he might take it up. Because some people who's going to reach retirement, you don't need 100% of them. Or those who are going for dialysis, because they need to go 3 days a week in the afternoon for dialysis, they cannot come back. Then, they apply half day, unpaid leave, no pay leave, whatever, etc. And porandakan your leave system. Why not you tell them? Why not you take part-time? So that finish 1 o'clock, by 1, you go. Thursday, Tuesday, you go. And on Monday, if you are not going for dialysis, you stay back, you do OT. So that is a plus point. So it makes your payroll, your coordination, your management of employees much more leaner. What about employees who delivers a child? The husband says, you know what, why not stay at home? Take care of the child, no maid, right? Or maybe you got a young kids. So you can do part-time. So I finish work 1 o'clock, I can go back and pick up them from the daycare or kindergarten. I can go home. So at least you still have this employee working. So this is what I call as having a flexible workforce. So please read the policy shared last night. You'll find the policy, you'll find the form, and you'll find the difference between the what is the annual leave for part-timer, full-timer. It's not the same, right? What is the public holiday, full-timer, part-timer? So all these three in the document shared last night. Please download it, read it, share it to your bosses, see whether this could be an advantage to you. Can employee says that I want it and says no, they can apply, company to approve. Okay, then the other change is also on employees' minimum housing standards. For Peninsula, we got Act 446. For Sabah Sarawak, we have got this provision, but we're not going to cover because this is very lengthy. I think about almost 20, 30 pages long. Please read it. It covers on, interpretation, who's a dependent, estate, medical officer, and many others, right? So please read it. It's very lengthy, both for Sabah and Sarawak. We'll not cover this today. And so this is court order for payments due to employee. I will just read it in a very simple term. If you owe employee money, you're supposed to pay them. And if employee complains to labor, labor says, please pay, and you don't pay, right? So what happens here, the employee can apply to the labor court, tell the labor court, right? Tell labor, can you please take charge of the employee's property? Please sell it and please pay me, right? Process may not be that fast or that easy, but the provision is there. And these are all the penalties. Again, I'm not going to go through because it's many, many pages. What you need to know, in the past, the maximum penalty was 10,000. Today, for any offences, the maximum penalty is 50,000 ringgit. So all offences, 50,000 ringgit, except for forced labour and hiring of foreign resident employee without permission. These two is higher. One is 100K just now. For all the others, used to be maximum 10, today is maximum 50. So you can see that. And then for some offences, the jail term also has been enhanced a little bit. So some of these offences can go to jail as well. So please read all this, right? The daily fine also increase in some cases. And you can see here, like you see at the section 103F, prison term, 2 years or both, that is still the same. Let me show you one example of where the prison term has increased. You fail to pay maternity allowance, right? You fail to grant them the maternity. Used to be 10,000 maximum. Today is not exceeding, or shall I say not more than 50,000, right? So you can see here, if you employ a non-resident employee, right? By right, you want to employ a foreigner, you must get a license for Sabah and Sarawak. So previously, if you hire a non-resident without permission, without license, fine not more than 10,000, jail not more than 6 months or both. Now you can see the fine has been increased to 50,000. The jail term increased from 6 months maximum to 1 year or both. So all the offences have increased. Please read it. And who's an employee, who's an employer? So let me summarize this for you in a most easiest way to understand. If you control his work, he's only working for you, right? It can be a he or she. You control the work. This person's only working for you. He's doing whatever job he do is something of importance to your organization. You're a software company, he's developing software. And whatever you pay this person, it's a major part of his income. And you provide him tools. And he's only working for you, for your benefit. So, in other words, right, this person, he is an employee, you are the employer, right? You're controlling them. Now, let me give you another example, which is not employee, not employer. Let's say in Kuching or KK, a lot of buildings, office blocks, and so on. So there's a cleaner. So this cleaner, on Monday morning, will go to company A, clean all the office, maybe wash the cups, clean the toilet, finish. In the afternoon, go to company B, vacuum the floor, clean the windows and whatnot. Then on Tuesday morning, go to company C, clean up the office and so on. Then afternoon, go to company D. And the whole week, he or she is going to different office, different building. Now, is this person only working for you? No. Whatever this person do is a very important part of your business? No. You are in software development, you are in healthcare, you could be doing finance or accounting, but he is doing cleaning. And are you controlling his movement? No, he's moving around. Whatever that you pay him or her, is that a big part of his income? No. Because whatever I pay is only a small part. This person is getting money from everywhere. So he is not employee, you are not employer. So I hope you can see the difference here. And also, the minister is given power to make rules, right? For Sabah Sarawak, the minister is given power to make rules. That means you're labor minister. So the minister can create rules, right? The minister is federal, but can consult the state authority, create rules. Now, what kind of rules? For example, today we have got termination and layoff rules. Sabah rules, right? Sarawak Labour rules. All these rules the minister can create, right? And some of the practices today, for example, when we terminate an employee, we got to pay 10 days, 15 days, 20 days per year of service. Now, where can we find this? In the termination layoff rules, right? So these are all the rules that the minister can create. So many areas, so don't be afraid, don't be surprised tomorrow, like for example, you see, the ordinance also allows the minister to make rules relating to flexi work arrangement. So one fine day, you never know, in 2028, there could be a flexi work arrangement rules, 2028. Company must do this, right? The minister has the authority to create these rules. Okay, now this is probably the most important part, I would say, in the amendment. But because of time factor, I'm going to, just go straight to the point. Usually, I'll go through all this. Now, in the past, only those employees earning less than 2,500 and those who are manual labor, supervisors, those who are driving, those who operate mechanical propelled vehicle, these people are part of the act. HR those days, you're not under Employment Act if you're earning more than 2.5 those days. But today, Sabah, Sarawak Peninsula, this has been amended. So every employee, anybody with a contract service, you are part of the act. Like it or not, you're part of the act. However, right, so the CEO of Sarawak Petros, the CEO of Sabah Electrical Board, or one of your GLCs, the operator, HR clerk, finance manager, HR manager, sales director, all of y'all, you're covered under the act. However, there are certain provisions doesn't apply to certain category, right? So who are they? Let me explain in a layman term here. Now, so what you can see here, let me see if I have got both. Okay, so what you can see here, this was Sarawak. So what you can see here, but Sabah, you're almost similar, except that you don't have 1-2 item. But what is common across Sabah, Sarawak Peninsula, those employees who are doing manual labor, right? If more than 50% of the time they're doing manual labor, those who operate mechanically propelled vehicle, for example, drive lorry or boats, etc., those who are supervising or oversee other employees engaged in manual labor. Now, this group, it doesn't matter whether you earn below 4 or above 4. As long as you earn, as long as you're in this category, you are covered. And I mean, you're covered, all are covered anyway. All provisions. If you work on public holiday, we got to pay you public holiday rate. If the company were to retrench you, they got to pay you termination benefit. But those in other categories, for example, HR, finance, sales, R&D, quality, right? CEO. Now, those people, they are under other employees because you're not manual labor. So you're not on the left. You're not doing supervising of another manual labor. So you're not on the left-hand side category. You're on the right-hand side category. So this group, if you're below 4, you are, OT is payable. If you work on public holiday is payable, etc. But if you're above 4, right? If you're above 4, that is not payable. So you're on the red box. So this is what I say, green box, red box, right? So, so if those in the green box, if they work on public holiday, you must pay public holiday rate. You cannot replace with public replacement leave. If they work during any of the public holiday, you got to pay them 2 times of the ORP. If they work on Sunday, or rest day, you got to pay them 1 time of their Sunday rate. So that is for the green box. You retrench them, got to pay them termination benefit. But the red box, all the provision in XXX doesn't apply to them. So many of you all, if you are listening in today, I presume you are from HR or finance or operations or admin. Now, so you fall in the category of other employees. Even if you're HR clerk, you fall under the category of other employees. So if you are earning below 4 or up to 4, you are in the green box. So if you work today after 5:30 or 6, we got to pay you OT. But those of you all earning above 4, you are in the red box. So for you, if you work after your normal hours, I can choose not to pay you, right? I can give you some time off. You come on public holiday, I can give you time off. If I retrench you, I do not need to pay. So those in the red box. Most of you all, If you're earning above 4, you're in the red box. I mean, for those listening today, unless you're in the first category, which is manual labor, supervisors, etc. So if you're not, then you are other employees. If you're earning up to 4, you're in the green box. If you're earning above 4, you're in the red box. So to know more, what is a manual labor, you can see the link. So these slides will be shared in Facebook in a short while. Click the link and you will know what exactly is manual labor. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip all these slides. It's a lot to cover, because here, we will calculate what is the 4K, and then there's some examples of 4K, how to calculate. So this you might be able to, just read it on your own. But those of you who attended the previous webinar, I've covered this in detail. So please read it. Now let me go to second schedule. So here what it says, in the second schedule, it's a new second schedule. What it says here, child and young person, what kind of work they cannot do. For example, for child, you cannot use them, in prostitution. I don't know why it's there, but, escorts, guest relation. You cannot ask them to work in a production or trade of alcoholic beverages, lotteries, gambling, right? You cannot ask them to work in this kind of employment. And, right, so this one is just for your info. Who is a child, who is a young person. So you can see a child is below 15, young person is below 18. And what is the hazardous work? So the hazardous work, these are the list of hazardous work, work related to machinery, anything that is, exposed to chemical hazards, biological hazards. So all these are not allowed for child and young persons, right? Unless, remember we said, they are going through a vocational training, somebody is supervising them. Okay, so this is just a summary to know more in detail. So I would say, for those of you all in Sabah, in Sarawak, this is the Sarawak Labour Ordinance. It's a complete update of the version, right? Everything is updated. So you can purchase this. In fact, I purchased this from the Sarawak Labour Department. So those of you all in Sarawak, please purchase this from your Sarawak Labour Department. So at least you have a copy of this, so you can refer. For Sabah, I know the last check I did, Sabah Labour Department do not have, but there are private publishers. I did not bring the book today, but there are private publishers who also produce this, right? You can go to Google and find out who has a Sabah Labour Ordinance and purchase one. So all of you all, you must have this, right? So those who are coming for our masterclass in Sabah and Sarawak, we will give you a copy, not to worry. But otherwise, please purchase one. It's good to know, highlight it, and read it, and so on. Okay, so I'm done with my presentation. Before we go to Q&A, a couple of updates on some events that is happening. So now you have listened to me for the last 1 hour and 40 minutes or so. Whatever I've covered today, we cover in detail, every provision. Maybe we skip some, but most of the provisions on certain parts that is not amended, strategies, tips. How do you do your disciplinary process in half an hour? Today will take 2-3 weeks. How to do it in half an hour? How to manage MCs? How to reduce your workload? How to deal with difficult managers? How to do PIP? How to do probation? What to watch out for? How to do your review? How to manage? How to set up your probation improvement performance improvement plan? How to work smart? So all these are covered in the today masterclass. So we are coming to Kuching 2 weeks from now or 3 weeks from now, 5th and 6th. We still have space if you want to. So if you want to join, please email Sophie. We'll be coming to KK as well on 14 and 15 September. So here we'll go through in detail. It's 2 days of solid training, no games, no fun, I would say. It's serious learning. Don't expect me to come and play ping pong, chit chat, give some chocolate sweet, etc. No, you only have tough words coming from me. You'll be given a 180-day plan after the class for you to clean up your house, get things in order. We'll be sharing with you almost, 100 plus templates, policies, samples, documents. I'll be forcing you to clean up your policies, etc. So all these are covered in the masterclass. So for those of you all, if you're keen to go deeper, right, join the class, it's worth the investment. And we also have other trainings for those of you all, if you're from payroll, you want to do a comm and ban, or if you're from L&D, you want to be a certified training needs assessor, we have this. We also have SHRM certification that is from US. So for those of you all, if you're keen, again, write to Sophie or you can WhatsApp Sophie. And yeah, these are seminars coming up. I know you guys are in Sarawak, Sabah. You may not be able to join. So we also have this, seminars. It's 69 ringgit each, half day. The money goes towards your morning break, lunch break, the material, etc. So these are the seminars that is coming up. We have a seminar on OSHA, the changes to OSHA. We have a seminar on MECC, Section 14A on anti-corruption. We also have Talent Corp coming here to speak on expatriate management. So those of you all, if you're in Peninsular Malaysia, you might want to come. Those in Sabah Sarawak, I do not know whether you fly over, but we leave it to you. And we also have the HR Tech Conference coming up. It's free. That is happening on 22nd, 23rd of September. So I know in the previous conference, there were some people from Sabah Sarawak. They just came. So please come if you can. It's a 2 days conference with a lot of local speakers, international speakers. You will see a sea of people. Last year, we had about 1,700 people. So come, learn, network, enjoy, and whatnot. Unfortunately, this is not HRD Corp claimable. You might have to pay on your own for your hotel and flight. We are trying to see if we can get it claimable, but it's not going to be easy. Now, at the same time, we also have another marketplace before the event, which is happening on 26th of August, payroll marketplace. So if you are looking at changing your payroll software, you want to upgrade yours, or want to explore what is out there, you can join this payroll marketplace happening on 26th August at our academy in PJ. On 27, we have health and benefits. We have got some of these companies that provide benefit solution, third-party administrator coming here. That is on 27. And on 28, we have got companies that provides workforce management solutions, tools and solutions, whether you want to do psychometric assessment, you want to, implement your recruiting software, or ATS or talent management solutions. So that is happening. All these events are free, right? You can just walk in, register. So to know more, you can click these details. I'll share these slides. You can click the link and come and join us, right? So this is happening in the month of August and September. So please come, network, see what's out there, get out of your coconut shell sometimes, come and get some fresh air, see what's happening. Okay, last but not least, we also have launched, together with our partner, we have launched a tech portal. These are tech jobs, IT jobs. So if you have any IT job, you can publish a job here. And, there are some number of good experienced employees. So you can, who knows, it's free right now. So take this opportunity. Purely IT jobs, not any other job, not sales, not admin, not finance, purely IT, or in other words, tech jobs, right? If you have, please, take this opportunity to, sign up and share your jobs. Okay, and a simple roadmap. This is, you need to know what, if you are a fresh graduate today, what are the types of learning, competency, skills you need to have as you climb the ladder. So this is the HR learning and career development roadmap. I leave it with you, read it for yourself. And I'm done for my presentation. So give me a minute or two. My colleagues will set up the Q&A. So now you can ask your questions if you have any. I'll try my level best to answer as much as I can. We probably end the session today at 5:10 since we started a bit late. So I may not be able to answer all the questions, but I'll try to pick up some interesting ones, not those basic stuff. Sometimes some people like to ask basic stuff. So let me answer those, really important ones, those critical ones, or those tough questions, right? Let me answer those. So just give us a minute. Okay, yep. So yeah, let me go from the bottom to the top. So NU Wong, how is ORP with bonus paid? So that means ORP is calculated different for that month. Now, so let me repeat again what I said just now. If your bonus, right, the bonus that you pay, it's the same amount for everybody, right? Everybody gets the same amount. Now that is bonus. It is not part of wages. But if you are giving a bonus which is paid based on individual performance, that can be considered as wages for work done. Because you do your job better, you get more. You don't do your job well, you get less. Now, that is not the bonus that is referred to in wages. And that has got to be, let's say, for example, if you're paying this bonus in December, now in the month of December, when you include that into wages, your ORP output will be higher for December, only for December, not for every other month, right? Only for December. So please speak to the nearest labor department, get clarification from them. So if you go to Facebook, we have actually shared a reply from, but this is for Peninsula. We didn't do this for Sabah Sarawak. So when we, so a member actually, contacted JTK HQ, and they said yes. If you're paying different bonus for different amount, that is wages for different people, right? Okay, next would be paternity leave. The employee must be married. Now, if the employee married by adat but not yet registered JPN, unfortunately, when we say married, we're talking about legally married, not all this adat engagement, right? No, we're talking about legally married, right? Because when we say married, it's always legal, right? So legally married. So if they adat, I don't think you need to give it to them, right? Please get further clarification from your nearest labor department. So when we said married means married, right? That means JPN registered. Okay, is there any soft copy for the full Sabah Labour Ordinance? So Johnston, even I wanted to purchase one. I remember when we contacted Sabah JTK, they don't have it, but there's a private publisher that has done it. Try to search for Joshua Legal Art Gallery. You might get one, but just go to Google and search, you'll find one, right? So for Sarawak, I know the Labour Department, they have got the ordinance. There's two things you need to have, the ordinance and the rules, right? There's also a rule book, your termination layoff regulation rules, Sarawak Labour rules, limitation overtime rules. So there's another book for rules. So Sarawak has done both. Sarawak Labour Department, they've got the rules and also the ordinance. Sabah, unfortunately, I couldn't get both. So the Labour Ordinance you can purchase from the private publisher, but do check with your Sabah Labour Department. Okay, the policies to download is on our Facebook community. All the policies that I mentioned just now, if you go to our Facebook community, there are close to 50 plus policies. 50 plus policies. You name the policy, we have it there. Whether it's flexi work policy, whether it's workplace harassment, anti-corruption, grievance management, whistleblowing policy, sexual harassment policy, work hiring policy, workplace relationship policy, medical policy, part-time work policy, disciplinary policy. There are 45 I can't count already. Almost about, I think, 50 plus policies that you will find in Facebook. For those of you all under RBA, SMETA, EICC, Apple, social compliance, there are also policies relating to social compliance, but such as employment of child or young persons prevention policy, prevention of forced labor policy, freedom of association policy. All these policies, you will get it in Facebook. So go to our Facebook community, search, there's also a file section, search and download. You go there, you'll find tons of documentations there. Okay, I'm in HR department. I get forced to work on my MC by my manager. Can I ask for replacement leave? Now, if you're an MC, you're supposed to be resting, and your company cannot force you to work on your MC day, right? So this is a grievance issue already, Anga. You might want to bring up to your higher management that you're forced to work on, on your MC. If I'm on sick leave and my boss asks me to work, it's a bit not proper unless it is an emergency and only I can resolve it. That one I would treat it separately. But if you think that this is happening too frequent, I believe this is a grievance, you might want to escalate to your your senior management or your company, right? Or okay, Charling, you mentioned the duration of last salary to be paid to employee. Is it legal for employee to hold salary by requesting employee to submit CP22? Now, because of LHDN, LHDN's regulation says that you cannot make the last payment. The last salary you cannot pay until you get clearance. Now that one you have no choice. You may have to hold, right? Because LHDN requirement or regulation says you got to hold. But other than LHDN, you cannot hold a salary. Okay, so whether you submit, employee submit, I'm not able to comment on that. Typically, it's company, right? Unless if it's retrenchment. But other than that, you shouldn't be holding the salary. Okay, so next. Okay, Daniel, if the staff is given higher marks in performance review compared to last year, but the bonus remain the same, while we ask HR, they also can't give a clear reason. As a manager, we also cannot answer staff. How should we handle it? So, Daniel, this is a domestic issue. This is an issue in your company, right? There's nothing much we can do. But I think you may want to bring this up to your senior management, not just your HR. Sometimes HR also can't give an answer. So you might want to bring this up to your MD, saying that, how do we address the employees' needs? Because employee ask, and we also do not want to tell. See, for me, I always tell HR this, or I always tell managers this. Don't tell the employee, tak tahulah, HR lah, right? We blame HR. Now, that is being very, how to say, irresponsible to some extent. But I think, Daniel, you got to bring this up to your top management and say that employees are asking this. My review is better this year. I got an A this year. I got a B this year. My rating is higher than last year, but my bonus is still the same, right? So that is why some companies, where I come from, for example, I come from Infineon. I know some companies do this. They do declare, right, what is the bonus amount. Of course, they won't give you the details, the specifics, but some company even declare, if you get an A, you get bonus of this amount. If you get a B, this amount, right? Sometimes the variable component can be confidential, right? Even increment, some company also do announce, if you're an A performer, you get 10 to 12 or 5 to 8. B performer, 3 to 5. So some company even make it open. So another way to overcome this is talk to your management. Can we announce the range? Maybe not the detail, but the range. You can always say that for A performer, the range of bonus is 1 to 2 months, right? You can do that. Different employee may get different, but it's the range. But Daniel, I don't think nobody can answer you this, not even Labour Department. This, you may have to go back to your senior management and get them to look into this and find a way how to manage this professionally. Next, I think you can go up. None really? Oh, okay. Okay. So, wow. This is the first webinar. We only have 5 or 6 questions. Right. Any others? Yeah, I still have time. We still have another few more minutes if you want to ask. Anyone? Yeah, please ask. Maybe while you're asking this, there's a new comment. Yeah. So if you have any questions, please ask. But let me tell you this for all of you listening in here. You'll get these slides, right? So go through the slides and please follow the discussions we have in Facebook. Most of the issues that you have in your workplace, right? Majority of the issues, right? We have solutions. We have done the discussions. We have got the tools. For example, all these are there. How do we manage employees who abuse medical leaves, right? We have got that. So do you provide training for recruitment? Recruitment is one of my favorite topics, but I don't. But in the masterclass, we cover on recruitment as well. Not the basics of recruitment. How can you speed up hiring? We cover that in the masterclass. How do you use fixed-term contract as a strategy in recruitment? We cover that. How do we prevent people from taking the offer letter and not turning up to work? We cover that. How to do proper hiring? We cover that. How do you, what is the new way of recruiting? Panel interview strategy? We cover that. So to some extent, we cover the strategies of recruitment in the masterclass. So please come and join us. Okay, so nothing. Okay, if there's nothing, WhatsApp group, please contact Yun, right? Just text Yun there. Yun, you can actually share the group now itself, right? Yun will share the link to our Sarawak group. Please join. But again, I always tell HR practitioners, I was once upon a time just like all of y'all, but I was very different. I don't think I'm the same like many of y'all. I read and read and read, analyze, and do so many things. right? I'll answer that. So I do so many things, and you got to push yourself to read. Don't just come and ask when you have trouble, right? You need to learn for tomorrow. Many of us are learning for today. So the difference of learning for today and learning for tomorrow means we learn only when we need to, when we are pressured. We got a problem, we come and learn. But that is not the right attitude. If you want to be on top of things, if you want to operate at the next level, right? Not at this level, you want to operate next level, you want to be ahead of others, you got to learn for tomorrow. So even if the issue doesn't affect you today, learn it, right? You may not want to master it, that's fine, because you don't have this issue today, but at least you must know, have some basic view. Okay, if I have this issue tomorrow, what should I do? Okay, now this company had this issue, and there was a suggestion to do this. I better see whether my company have it or not. Maybe we should implement this so that we can prevent the issue. But today, we wait for issues to happen. Then we go around the town, hey, how do I resolve it, etc. But when you do that, right, damage done. When you do that, you've already created work for yourself. So my advice to each and every one of you all, if you want to be successful, you want to earn good money, you want to be one of the best HR practitioners in town, you don't want the company to bully you in terms of, push you here and there, you got to be damn good at what you do. So you got to be the best in your job. Be ahead of others. Be on top of things. Operate at the next level. Work smart. I'm not saying don't work hard, work smart. Right? There's an article that I wrote 2 days ago about working smart. How do you work smart as HR? And many others. Okay, there's 2 questions. Let me pick this up since we got a bit more time. Shamimi, how if an employee, I think we have answered this. Okay, how if an employee is forced to work on MC by the manager? As I said, there was another question similar just now. This is not proper. If it's one time, maybe because there's a critical issue at the office and only you can resolve it. For me, if I'm the employee, if I can still do a bit of support from home, I will do it. But if this has become routine, every time you're an MC, the boss will say, I want you to do, etc., then I think this is a grievance issue already. You need to bring this up to if you have a grievance process, bring this up, or if you don't have it, please bring up to your bosses. Now, one of the policy that every company must have is grievance policy. If a grievance is not managed well, employee can walk out and file a case in industrial relations office. So remember, grievance can also lead to an industrial case. So I would say this, if the employee is taking advantage, bullying you like this, Shamimi, I suggest you bring this up to your senior management, your top management, explain to them that this is not proper, and the manager need to be educated. Okay, next is Charling. If an employee was abused, discriminated, they can bring up to HR. What if HR themselves are facing the issue and the head of HR part of it? Then you got to go to the next management. So see, Charling and many others, right? We hear these issues very common. Company is bullying me, company is toxic, etc. Now, I know this happens, right? Sometimes I always tell companies this, employees this. Not all companies are angels. Some of them, they got some other agenda. Same goes to employees. Not all employees are angels. Some also are devils, right? It happens both ways. Now, if you find that the company is not being proper, fair, they practice, discriminatively, and so on, you got to escalate to the next level. If HR is the issue, go to your senior management. But if let's say you're not able to manage this internally, you might want to go to Labour Department if you have enough evidence, right? Remember, discrimination is not allowed. If you have got good evidence, right, bring it to Labour Department. But at the same time, maybe I have to tell you this. If the company is so bad, it's best to move on. I know some people may not be able to accept this, not easy to get a new job. Agreed, yes. But what do you want to do if the situation is as such? I don't want to put myself into a severe mental stress, go to work Monday. Today, Monday, we'll be calculating 5 o'clock. Oh, thank God, 5 o'clock I can go home. Right? Friday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then 2 days you relax, come back again for another week of, stress and mental torture. Maybe you got to start moving on. That's why it's so important for employee, right? Be so good at your job. If you are really good at your job, the chances of people bullying you is lesser. Trust me, no company would ever want to bully somebody who's so damn good. You must be good in your knowledge. You must be good in articulation. You must be able to speak. You must know your topics well, right? So when you are so damn good, people they'll be scared to bully you. They will not bully you. They'll try their luck, but I can tell you it's not easy to move you. But when we are not good, we get to be bullied. So use knowledge, right? It's not about us, bode here, bode. No. Be so damn good at what you do. Be good in your job. Knowledgeable. You know Employment Act. You know SLO like this. You know what is this. You know what is that. Problems are resolved. Until so much, the MD knows you, right? The directors should know you. So that if your HR head try to be funny, the management knows you because they know what you're doing. They see you. You must also know the art and science of, able to survive, right? Make yourself visible, right? In any events or any meetings, raise up your hand. Mr. MD, I got an idea. I know your HR guy is sitting down there. Don't worry about him. Mr. MD, I got an idea how to resolve this, right? But you can only do this if you know, you read, you analyze, you network, you brainstorm. But how many of us do that? We just go to work, we get our job done, we go home. I was not like you guys. I make sure that when I go to a meeting, those days when I was working, the management knows me, the MD knows me, the CFO knows me, right? So when you do that, right, your boss cannot suppress you. So you must be, it's like how, I give you this example. So let's say this is a bottle, right? This is a bottle. You are trapped in the bottle. So what has that? I mean, look at this analogy here. You're trapped in the bottle. Your boss can easily put a cap. You're stuck there. You now become a genie in the bottle, right? But if you create pressure in the bottle, if you create so much pressure in the bottle, for the superior to cap the bottle, because the pressure is so great from inside, right? It's going to be very difficult to cap the bottle, very difficult. But today, some of y'all, you are there, the boss easily put a cap on you. No pressure. How do you create the pressure? Not by shouting, not by fighting, but through the power of knowledge, skills, competencies, and whatnot. So that is an idea or a way for you. So learn the job, be damn good at it, be one of the best in it. Write articles. How many of you will write articles? I believe many of you don't. Whenever employee says that, my company is trying to force me out, this and that, etc. But you say you're good, right? If you're good, get a job. We all think that we are good. If I would ask you or any of you all, yeah, I'm performing, I got no problem, I come to work, that means you're good. No company will want to lose a good staff. If you're the best in the job, nobody wants to lose you. They will try their level best to keep you, give you extra money, take good care of you. But if you are easily replaceable, if company can just replace you easily, this person, Charlie, Christy, Shamimi, all these, we can hire somebody better. So you are not the best, right? So it's okay if you need to leave your current company, but you need to read, go and join some seminars, events, network here, there, etc. Improve your English, join Toastmasters, right? Go and learn up something on AI, speed up your work, show the boss that you're damn good, you come up with new ideas and whatnot. There are lots of ideas that we share in HR Forum, we share in Masterclass, go and implement it, right? And don't allow the boss to cap you, because the pressure that you create is so damn great that the boss cannot, he struggles to cap you, right? Struggle cannot. And sometimes it explodes. Be a pressure cooker that they cannot put a lid on you, right? Okay, so maybe one last question. Leave. I have a leave. Encashment leave. What is the right calculation? Divide 26. Now, if you look at Sabah, Sarawak Peninsula, right, all the three, EA, SLO, etc., how to calculate AL is divide 26. Wages divide 26. Why divide 26? Because in a month is considered 30 days. There are 4 Sundays. You don't apply annual leave on a Sunday. You apply annual leave on the other working days, which is 26. Hence, for annual leave calculation is wages divide 26, not calendar. Calendar is, if you are now, for example, all of you all, if you're in HR or finance or admin, you are paid on a monthly basis. You are paid for every day. You're also paid for Sunday. So yesterday was Sunday, right? You're paid. So unpaid leave, because you're paid every day, so unpaid leave, you divide 30. Like this one is 30, you divide 30. But annual leave, you only apply annual leave on normal days, which is 26. Hence, for AL is divide 26. For unpaid leave is divide 30. If it's 31, divide 31. But annual leave is divide 26. Okay. Mentor, I don't have time to mentor, but we're coming out with a national mentor program, not this year, not this year, but next year we're coming out with a big scale national mentorship program. Wait for it. But you can always go to LinkedIn. You see, let me offer one small tip, right? You'll probably thank me for this. Now, I'm sure most of you all have LinkedIn account, but you're not using the LinkedIn platform effectively. So those of you all, if you aspire to be a manager, senior manager, do this. One, make sure your profile is clean, proper. Put a nice profile photo. Get somebody to shoot a nice photo, or you can go to studio, shoot a nice photo, put it there. Make sure your profile is clean and neat. Do some write-up. What are the 5 new challenges of being HR? What is the trend out there? What is the attrition rate in Sabah Sarawak? How can companies improve their retention of blue collar workers? Write short articles. Read, write, learn, write. Do that. And then send connection to, maybe if you're in Sarawak or Sabah, or if you're in Peninsula, or if you've got plans to come to Peninsula, majority of the professionals are in LinkedIn. Connect to them, connect, right? You see the head of HR in SIMW, connect. You see somebody in Petros, connect. You see somebody in Shell, connect. You see these guys, connect. Now, connect to as many professionals as you can. Now, when you connect, some of them will reply, will accept your connection. Some will say, no, don't worry about them. Those royalty, all these Hollywood stars who says, oh no, I want privacy, don't ignore them, right? Don't worry about them. But there'll be somebody who'll connect to you. Now, when they get connected to you, every time you write an article, they start to notice you. Maybe not the first time, but when you write second article, third article, they tend to notice you. Then because they're connected, you said, let's say, for example, somebody in Petronas or maybe one of the big companies in Sarawak or Sabah said, hey, Mr. Johnson, I'm one of your connection. I'm looking for an industry mentor. Would you be able to mentor me? Right? I'm sure out of 10, maybe 6 or 7 will ignore you. But there'll be 1 or 2 people out there. There are also people out there, not everybody is stingy for knowledge. I can tell you there are people out there who are willing to help others. Right? He may say, yeah, I can mentor you. Right? Then get a phone number exchange and, once in a while, just make a call. You can do that as well. So connect, use LinkedIn profile to make yourself visible. And sometimes, right, when the mentor knows you, right, and they keep seeing, maybe not mentor, somebody keeps saying, hey, this guy, who's this Daniel? I keep seeing posting from him, hey, this guy must be good. Tomorrow, if I got a vacancy in my place, I'm looking for a HR manager. Hey, I will go to LinkedIn. Hey, this Daniel guy, I find something unique about him. He writes a lot. And hey, you know what, HR? Why not you call this guy Daniel? I want to see him. Now, you are now selling yourself, right? You're making yourself visible, and job comes to you even without you applying, right? So use LinkedIn platform effectively. So a lot of things you can do, right? There are certain things beyond your control. Don't worry about it. But there are certain things within your control, within influence. Use it, right? Go for conferences, go to Toastmasters, join some events here and there, right? If you can take 2 days off, come to Peninsula Malaysia, right? Pay for a flight ticket. We can go China for holiday, but you cannot pay flight ticket to come to KL to come for a conference, right? It's a free conference. Come, pay, go and stay in a simple budget hotel if money is an issue. Get the cheapest flight in. Come 2 days, network like our HR tech. Come network, mingle, listen to something. What are the new topics? Exchange name card and go back with a fresh of mind. Go and implement something that you've learned, right? So I tell you this, we must be able to make sacrifices. Not just sacrifice in staying back late. Staying back late, is it a sacrifice? You're forced to do it. When I say sacrifice means you voluntarily do it for you're going to punish yourself. I want to finish this article within 2 days. I want to write a review on this article, right? Do that. Okay, maybe I'll pick up one last question. PIP, should we, staff is not performing, how many times should we give a chance? Simple. If your PIP, now remember, industrial court always tells us this, don't rush. Give them time. Give them sufficient time. Don't rush. So a PIP could be 3 to 6 months, right? So in these 3 months, right, you do your monthly review, first month review, second month review, third month review, and cannot terminate him. Make sure you have all the documentary evidence. There are 6 rules for PIP. Number 1, be fair. be transparent. Number 2, tell the employee they're not performing. Number 3, remind them, warn them. Number 4, give them time, give them sufficient help, right? If you have done all of this, your PIP is good, right? We have a big chapter on PIP in masterclass. So those who are coming, we'll go through all this. Casual worker, do we need a signed contract? Well, this has nothing to do with employment law, nothing to do with Sarawak Labour Ordinance, but I can tell you, the employee will ask for a contract or will ask for some document. How can I come and do for you? What if you don't pay me? So they will want some contract. You can call it service contract, freelance contract, whatever you call it. Now, they will ask you. If they say no need contract, then no need. Do you need to stamp it? For sure. LHDN says, any document, if there's 2 parties, there's exchange of money, 2 signatures, you must get it stamped. So yes, you got to get it stamped. Okay, so I think we are done for today. It's already 5:20. I don't want to hold you back. There are some other questions I wish I can answer, but maybe you can ask in Facebook or ask in our WhatsApp group. I wish I can answer more, but we need to go. So thank you so much for joining us today. I hope this webinar has been as useful as, it's useful to you. We'll share these slides in Facebook in a short while. So download it. All these slides are in Facebook. So I hope to see as many of you all come to, September, come to the Malaysia HR Tech Innovation Conference and Exhibition, and come and learn, network. There are a lot of foreign speakers as well. It's free, right? So get your flight, stay in a simple hotel, come and enjoy, meet up people in the Peninsula, and learn up. Go back and implement some of the things that you've learned. Okay, with that, thank you so much. And I'll see you the next webinar if you are joining us. See you then.